Can you see my video still?
Yup.
Okay. Hi, Ryan.
Hello, Becca. You look exhausted.
I am fucking exhausted. Oh my god.
It's been warmer though. It hasn't been frigid
Yeah.
temperatures for your outdoor projects.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear the shenanigans that have happened in the last week?
Yes.
Okay, so for everybody else, this is Christmas week. We are 3 days away from, like,
This
past
is
Christmas week.
we're
We're
recording
3
after
days away
Christmas, yeah.
from New Year's.
Right.
So you can guess what our show is about today. So, I'm staying at my friend. This is my first roommate in college. Her name's Teresa, and her husband, and then they have 3 kids, 3 girls. 1 and some change, 4 and 6.
Mhm.
6-year-old's almost 7, but you can't tell.
So y'all went to college,
And
and y'all went to college out in California, and they happen to live out in this area.
And they happened to move to Indianapolis almost the same month I did. So, anyway, and then they moved down to Memphis. So I'm down in Memphis with them. Okay, so both parents have been here for the entirety of the time.
Both sides of parents? Oh my gosh.
Both grandmas, not both grandpas, but both grandmas.
Okay. That's a full house right there.
It's a full house, and it's a fully opposite side of the spectrum house too. So
What do you
one
mean opposite side of the spectrum?
One grandma believes one thing, one grandma believes the other thing. So it's been
like politically and social situations and things.
Yeah. So it's fine.
But they're mostly there for the kids, right? So
they're mostly there for the kids, yeah. But like it's there's a lot of dynamics rolling around, okay?
And you're like an oddball in that mix.
Yeah.
There's a fly in the ointment there.
Yeah, no bang out fights or anything like that. It's just I'm trying to set the playing field. So both grandmas here. Oh, and Teresa's brother is Jake. Yeah, so it's been like 6 adults in one house with 3 children.
That's a lot, yeah.
For almost 2 weeks. So from that, we are just exhausted. Regardless, the amount of dishes I have washed.
Oh my gosh.
These 2 weeks is unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. Because they use their dishwasher just for their dishes, like just for plates and bowls and spoons and cups.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hand wash everything else.
Silverware?
So, silverware goes in the dishwasher too. Because like they have such a big family that's all that fits.
But they like have to use serving plates and stuff like that for their meals because there's so many people.
Yeah, and so the amount of dishes that I've washed plus Debbie have washed has been unbelievable. And then on top of that, me and Brandon and I, whatever, are that should be a New Year's resolution. I
was gonna say you've been saying me and somebody else for the past like 2 years. Why would you quit?
I don't know. We are doing the van, and we're kind of like not following any guidelines per se that normal people do with van builds because I don't have enough money to like do it fully right now, and I don't have enough time. No money, not enough time. So we're just getting the insulation in. Like literally, I will be living in this van with insulation styrofoam walls and nothing over them for 3 months. And it'll be purple, which is a great color, but it'll be like purple around it. So we've been doing that the past 3 days, I think. And we did like it one way, and then we decided to do it a different way, which is so much better. And we're learning as we go, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Just from all that and the kids and
what's behind the insulation? I couldn't tell what that was.
That's called rock wool. It's not fiberglass, but it's a mineral, like plastic based insulation. I don't know.
Is that like the stuff that you would throw in a machine to get ground up and just spit into your attic?
No. No, they sell that in like different bags and stuff But it's
Is it still for
like
insulating?
steel wool, but like ground up really fine.
Okay.
So, or maybe it's made of rocks. I don't know. Um, but
But it
it
looks
doesn't
pretty
have,
dense, yeah.
yeah, it doesn't have fiberglass in it, but it is itchy. Like if you don't wear a mask, it definitely gets in your throat.
Mhm.
So that's behind an inch of styrofoam, which moves into the walls a little bit, as far as how much space I have. But honestly, I'd rather it be really well insulated than anything else.
Mhm.
And it's temporary for right now, kind of. I'll probably replace take them off and put more studs, you know,
Yeah.
certain
But I mean,
places.
what would be the ideal? Like if you had the money to do it, what would have been the alternative?
Yeah, Deanna asked me that too, and I gave her a really bad answer because I was too tired to answer it. The ideal would probably be Thinsulate and maybe reflective on top of the Thinsulate, and then you can like run cords and stuff, and then just put wood over it.
Thinsulate is just like a super dense.
I think it's like a super dense insulation.
Is it still like cushy or?
A little bit cushy,
So
yeah,
you
but
would
it's
shove
not
it into the
messy at
cracks and
all.
stuff, but
Yeah.
it's just a higher quality.
Mhm. Yeah, and that would have probably cost like $800 to do,
Mhm.
as opposed to um I think it's like 500.
Okay.
So, I could have spent I'm taking back one thing of the rock wool, so that's nice. Um, yeah. Debbie
And how do
saved
you?
me
I saw you
$20 on
insulating the
wool.
sides and stuff. Or were you insulating the ceiling, or how do you do that? Is that just
We're
like harder to
insulating the
do?
ceiling too. We're insulating the ceiling too, but we're doing it only with styrofoam because I was like, I really don't want to put rock wool on the top because it's so messy.
Did you have to like do the styrofoam and like shove the rock
Yeah.
wool in there and then like staple it or something? Or
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, something. But thankfully Brandon is really, really smart. And so he has been um he is he's been helping me. He's been doing like all the math and stuff. That's what he wants to do, you know. He
Mhm.
like and he's like, Becca, if the structure isn't good, the rest of it's gonna go down fast. And I was like,
Yeah.
no,
Like
I
if you
know.
have gaps and you're like, oh, these
Yeah.
gaps are fine, but like that's where the air escapes,
Mhm.
right?
Well, it's not even that. It's more the studs and stuff, like making sure they're straight and um, you know, the measurements are right and everything like that. But it's a van.
Hmm.
Like I think I said it like 15 times today. It's okay. It's a van. Like it's a
But it's
fucking
where
van.
you
It's not
live.
a box. I know, but it's not a box. Like you can't have everything perfect.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not insulating a square room. You're
Hmm.
insulating a van. So
That's all metal. That's probably
that's all.
gonna hold a bunch of cold, and then it's
Yeah.
like living inside of a refrigerator.
Yeah. So, but I think it's going well for not knowing anything and for just kind of winging it. We're
Hmm.
doing great. So,
Yeah.
I've already got people telling me what I should and shouldn't do. So that's fun. Um,
Did you know that was gonna happen? That's where you
oh
choose
yeah.
choose to decide what to share and what not to share.
Oh, I know. I figured out real quick. I was like, okay, I could share a lot and then my life would be fucking miserable. Or I could just share a little and then it could be
Hmm.
manageable. So, yeah, not getting famous on this van. No, thank you.
Yeah. Like you're already overwhelmed without sharing anything, and then you just share it, and then you're just
Yeah.
like, pile on me with more crap.
Right. Like, I don't understand how those YouTube people do van builds and like videotape the whole fucking thing. Like, my God. Like,
Yeah.
that sounds like a lot of work, and I'm not for it. Not here
I
for
mean
it.
that kind of relates to anything, like sharing anything. You're open to people
Yeah.
saying stuff about it. So
Oh, for sure. For sure.
what
For
if you
sure.
like posted some of those and didn't allow comments on them? You could do that. Your
Oh,
stories don't
yeah.
allow
I forgot that
comments.
you can do that. Yeah, I should do that. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Sweet. Good idea. Ryan, how has your week been?
All right, so we did the Christmas thing. It was terrible winter weather. So fucking
Oh,
cold.
yeah.
You all had that too, right? It was down to like 0.
Oh, I forgot to tell you that our pipes froze on Christmas Day
Oh gosh.
or the day before Christmas. Like, we went to Lowe's on Christmas Eve to get pipes, and everybody was at Lowe's to get pipes.
To get
And they're
pipes?
copper pipes. They're copper pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
the
happens when
water
they
pipes.
freeze? Are they freezing inside the house, or they're freezing? Where are they freezing at?
They do freeze inside the house if there's not enough insulation around where they are. So, because
Because the
it's
copper's coming
Memphis,
into the house?
well, there's a overhang on this house, and that's where they froze, on the overhang, because there's nothing under it. And because this is Memphis and it's not supposed to get this cold, nobody was prepared. Like, literally all the pipes froze in downtown.
Oh wow.
So,
So when you're getting pipe, does that mean you're cutting out the old pipe and you're replacing it with new pipe?
yeah, but we were lucky because sometimes when they freeze, they expand, and that's when they burst, and then you have leaks, you have a pipe explode. And we hopefully did not. We think
Okay.
it was just froze, which is nice.
So it's like insulate it and drip your water to like keep it going through. So hopefully it slowly thaws.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know why I didn't think of it the night before, but yeah, you're supposed to leave your faucets running, a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Moving water never freezes is what somebody said to me recently.
Which is a lie, but that's, I mean, it's fair, but it's not totally true.
Yeah. In general.
In general.
It will work for the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you doing?
Yeah, so that was happening. We had to drive to Louisville. We waited a couple days, so it like started really bad Thursday, and then we didn't go until Saturday. So we let kind of the crazy people go out and do their thing on Thursday, Friday, where it was the worst. And then we did the drive on Saturday, and it wasn't too bad. A 2-hour drive turned into about 3, and almost a little over 3 hours. So
okay,
I'm just going a little slow, playing a little cautious. But we did a little Instagram count thing, and there were 60 cars stranded.
Wow, 60
on that 100-mile drive.
That is insane.
Well, also, I mean, the stranded thing is a little iffy because some people were like, semis were pulled over to the side.
Oh.
They could have been totally fine, but they were just not moving.
Right.
So we considered those stranded because they weren't actively driving. But there were
They
some
were pulled over on the side of the road, on the side of the freeway.
Right. Yeah.
Where they shouldn't have been. Yeah.
So, and then there were a bunch just, like actual wrecks, and they were in ditches, and there was a semi off the road, like perpendicular to the highway into the trees. Off the shoulder, not like in the median, off the shoulder. And I was like, oh my gosh. So pretty crazy. So
the people here are just not equipped. They are not equipped to deal with snow. It's just like not a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was the drive. It was good though. Christmas was fine. Did Christmas with Rachel's side, and my family didn't really do much of a Christmas. We just did like something small with just the 4 of us, and then we'll have a Christmas with my brother and sister-in-law and all the kids and stuff in January. So we'll see them next weekend.
Did you get your Christmas present from your mom?
No.
Oh.
I didn't get. We're gonna do it at Christmas all together. So we didn't exchange any gifts with my family or anything. I don't think so. Okay. Don't spoil it because I probably don't know what it is.
Well, I'm glad I said just that.
Because we didn't. Yeah, we didn't. We didn't exchange anything with my side. So we just like played some games and ate dinner and kind of hung out.
Oh, you played Ticket to Ride. We found Ticket to Ride at the library.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently libraries have games.
They were selling it, or they let you like borrow it?
You can borrow the game at the library.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, we
what
found
section is that in?
I don't know. I've never seen games at a library, but
I mean, that's great. Hey, if you got a ticket to ride, I mean, that game is not cheap. If you buy retail, it's like $60.
Yeah, it's really, really expensive. So we're gonna play it probably tomorrow.
We were playing Ticket to Ride Europe.
That's the one we're gonna play tomorrow.
I killed him.
Yeah. Brandon and I have been playing Ticket to Ride, and he is very good because he's more a defensive player as opposed to an offensive player.
Oh, like he's trying to screw you over?
Yeah, he beats me pretty much every time.
Does he get his? So he does like the minimum number of routes possible, so that he can
No,
like easily get it.
no, he's just really good at blocking you and doing all the things.
Okay, so he might go out of his way to take a longer route, but screwing you over in the process.
Yeah, maybe I don't even know. All I know is get as many cards as you can first with him. That's how you do it.
Oh yeah, I mean don't just yeah. I
You
play a
can't start
specific
laying
way.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty good. And then I've been taking some days off for the rest of the year. So I got
Good.
today I was getting some time off and tomorrow and I don't go back
Oof.
until the 3rd. So I'm looking forward to getting some time. I was kind of reorganizing the studio a little bit, like cleaning up, moving a shelf out of there. We're gonna clean up the storage area tomorrow in the basement, and then I'm gonna reorganize a little bit of stuff in the studio too. So getting it a little tidier since I have time to do that.
Yeah.
And then the other exciting thing that I did today was I finally, for those that are listening, and we did the bookkeeping talk, I finally sent out, I didn't even talk about this on here at all in the past or recently, but I finally sent out an email to the like 20 people that showed interest in the bookkeeping workshop that I'm
Mhm.
doing. So I think I've already got about 6 people that signed up. So
Nice.
it's the like small group of people to do like a 1 hour workshop talking through how I organize my expenses, income, and all that stuff. And then it's how it helps me during tax time and things like that. And then I'll give them a bunch of tutorial videos if they miss things during the talk, and they can ask me questions and stuff live. So
Are you gonna record it and then you could sell it for like $30?
I'm I'm gonna record it. The first the first group I'm gonna record, so they're gonna get the getting started guide, which is all of the stuff I'm gonna cover. I'm probably not even gonna be able to cover everything in the talk, but I'll kind of do it high level, and they can go in depth on their own if they want. And then I'll send them the recording as well right after that, so they know if they miss something during the talk. I don't know. It's so in depth, and I already feel like I have to re-record stuff because the last time that I recorded all this information was exactly a year ago, and the forms are outdated a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of the analytics portion is outdated. So I'm like, okay, well, this one video I talked about, it was like 17 minutes long, and then this other video is 20 minutes long. So I got to re-record almost 40 minutes of content.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, do I have to restart over and just re-record all of it?
Mhm.
Because in total, all of the recordings together are probably like an hour and a half of content.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, I could sell that, but I feel like if I did that, I would send all the information and then I would end up getting tons of questions of people trying to figure this out and they get stuck.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep that at bay, and I hope that talking with people live will get them to understand what I'm talking about. Because I figure a lot of it's going to go over people's heads. Like they're not going to understand the technical part of setting it up, and that's kind of what
Mhm.
I'm going to talk through. And then they'll get the getting started guide before they actually come to the workshop, so they can come with questions and maybe they could try to set it up themselves or like download some of the files themselves
Yeah.
and then kind of walk through with me if they want. But I mean, I would like to sell it. I mean, I don't see any reason why not, but initially when I was doing this and I sent it to people for free just to get some feedback, they most people didn't even do any of it. So they didn't, obviously they didn't pay for it, so they didn't really have any skin in the game of like, hey, I pay for this thing, I should probably use it. They were
Yeah.
like, I never got to that and I never did it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, it would be nice to like go through this together. So I was like, well, a workshop's not that big of a deal. I already put all the work in to build all this stuff. I just need to talk through it
Yeah.
in a summary. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So maybe it's like maybe I'll host a workshop once a month or every other month. Not once a month, probably every other month. Maybe I'll do it or something and just
Yeah.
kind of talk through it with a group of people. I just don't want to keep having to sell it and talk about it but we'll see. I'll get it to a point where I figure out whether it's worth it for them or not. And
I think that I would, if I was doing it, I would probably record the first one that you do, and then in the next month, send them the recording, have them watch it, and then do a live discussion at a certain time.
oh, like a follow up
Yeah. So that way they still feel like, hey, I still get to ask
with
questions.
the initial group that joined it live.
No,
So
no, no.
I'm doing one workshop on January 10th and I'm doing another workshop on January 21st. Two different groups just to give them flexibility on when they want to join.
Okay. So record. So do the initial recording on January 10th or whatever, and then you can send that recording to the January 21st people, and they can watch it at their leisure until the time that you have your live session. Then you just talk about what you recorded. That way you don't have to say the same thing over and over again. You can just send them the recording, and then
So then what do we do in that hour if they haven't done anything? Like, do I
well,
assume that they're not going to do it? Or I feel like I got to assume that there's going to be people that have done some things and people that have done nothing.
oh, is the workshop interactive?
It's not really interactive. It's just I'm going to talk through how to set it up. So I'm kind of instructing them, but I'm doing it on a kind of a I'm kind of explaining how they fit together as well as why I'm capturing certain information and
Okay,
how
that's
you can
fine.
adapt it to your own business if you want to.
Okay, that's fine. So you talk about that stuff first, and then afterwards you have a Q&A session, and that Q&A session is live all the time, right?
Mhm.
Every time. But the first part doesn't have to be live. You can just resend it out. They'll watch it and then come to the Q&A session with their notes of what they have to
Hmm.
ask.
Maybe here, alternatively, maybe I'll try to make them pretty much identical January 10, January 21, and then I'll just have a joint 20 people can come to this one after. That's like a follow-up discussion, 30-minute
Nope,
discussion.
nope,
Everybody come together.
nope.
It's not a comparison if you have two different sessions and you're trying to get feedback about what worked and what didn't work if you don't have the same content at both.
You do have the same content. Why
No, I
aren't you?
don't. No, I
Yes,
don't. I'm literally talking to them live. Why would I have them watch something that I did 2 weeks ago that is not actually me talking to them?
that's
They
the
can ask
whole.
me questions live.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Afterwards.
You're talking about after the 21st is over, after I've already talked to this initial group.
I'm saying record what you're going to say for an hour, okay?
I don't know
Don't
what I'm
even,
going to say
why not?
because I need to tailor it to if they're understanding what I'm talking about or if I need to stop. I've already recorded this, but it's an hour and a half of content. Just me talking straight across all of it. I've already recorded an hour and a half of content.
Okay.
So I don't know what I need to trim and what people are going to understand and what they're going to get stuck with and what I need to elaborate on. If I just do this on my own and I don't have any feedback of people at the time, then I don't know what people are getting stuck with and what they're not getting stuck with.
Okay,
What
okay.
they're
So
like,
then
okay,
after,
you need to move it along on this because we understand that.
okay, okay, fine.
You see what I mean? I don't want to just talk by myself because that's the whole point of like I sent it out to people. They didn't do anything because they wanted to see it live and talk about it live. I don't want
I
to
mean,
assume
they can,
somebody's going to do their homework for an hour and do it and try to struggle with it for like 3 or 4 hours when I could be like, oh, well, this is what you need to do to like if you get stuck here.
okay.
Do you see where I'm coming at?
I see where you're coming at. I don't agree, but I see where you're coming at.
I mean, if it's terrible because I do the same thing for 2 hours straight or 2 different sessions, sure.
No, I get it. I just like with my consultations, literally, I am saying the exact same thing. People struggle with the exact same thing every single time. Doesn't matter. I've done
But I don't
35
know what they're going to
consultations.
struggle with because I don't know the technical
Okay, yeah,
capabilities of these people, and I also don't know if they understand. I mean, hopefully they could just abstract and be like, okay, well, I don't sell consignment, so I don't need that portion on my form, or like, I understand the different business expense categories, or they're like, hey, I've got this other thing that I do, like, where would that fit in? Hopefully they can
yeah.
figure that stuff out on their own. But if they don't understand, like, okay, I'm piecing this form together and I got stuck here, I couldn't get this thing to work. Like, how did you do that? And then I could be like, oh, well, here's how I did that, and here's how you need to get this connected.
Okay.
Like, I'm very tech savvy, but I would assume most of these people, half of them are going to be tech savvy and half of them aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully it doesn't get commandeered by the people that aren't tech savvy, and then it's just the time gets spent quickly.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Anyway, it's been an hour.
Has it already been an hour?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, guys.
All right, that's happening. Let me know on my Instagram if you're interested in that, and I will have it figured out by then.
Whee!
That's why I don't want to do it with like 40 people, and then I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think we should do a question. We should just go into what we're talking about.
All right. We'll save the question later.
Yeah.
All right. What are we talking about today?
We're doing a recap of 2022, which everybody's like gets to this point and they're like, fuck a recap. Getting out of this now. Just wasted 52 minutes of my life.
They're going to see the episode title. They're going to know what the episode's about.
That's true. Okay, we're going to do a 2022 recap and a really quick 2023 goals.
I don't know, they're going to be goals, but like what you're...
Not goals, but what we're looking forward to in 2023.
Yes.
And as we know, Becca has done 0 prep and Ryan has done some. So.
Yep, that's accurate.
That is how we work. I do have the reports, though. I do have the reports up. I just have done 0 prep. And I have no idea what I want for next year. So here we go. Okay. What should we talk about first? Overall sales? Or what were your goals this year?
Mine were broken out. I basically just took some of the different categories of how I make money and just how I wanted that breakdown to look for this year.
Okay.
So last year I had some show sales. I wanted to increase it to 50K as show sales. I was at 39K last year.
Okay.
I did not reach that. I was at 43K, but
okay, that's still pretty good.
It's still an increase. I mean, maybe 50K was not realistic, but
50K
43K
was a little bit of a reach.
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
Consignment. I wanted to get it to 15K. I was at 10K last year. I got to 13K.
Nice.
Consignment and wholesale. Sorry, I should have mentioned those together. But
okay, nice.
It was pretty split actually. That's pretty much 6,200 consignment and 6,600 wholesale.
Nice.
So pretty close there between the two. And then online, I had 22K last year, and I wanted to sell 20. And hold on, maybe I ended up with 22K, so 22K online. So ended up pretty good. Trying to see what I did last. Yeah, okay. So I was at 22K last year. I didn't expect it was going to be as good because I put way more time into selling online in 2021. I didn't have as many. With the pandemic, it was just more people were buying online than at shows. So
yeah,
that's why they increased in 2021. But pretty much right on track with it. I feel like I didn't spend as much time focusing on doing updates and things like that this year.
Hmm.
So it was
Well, I
more
think
like,
you decided last year that that wasn't like worth your time.
yeah. So it
Yeah.
was just kind of like as I was available, I would do it. Um, and then I had a revenue goal of 100K. Did not hit that, but
Okay.
I feel like that was a stretch goal, but I was at 77K in 2021.
Hmm.
Is right at about 83K this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
I would
I
say
did I
for,
didn't put the online sales in here from Etsy just yet because I still got a couple days, but
yeah, for as far as the economy goes, you did pretty well, you know?
yeah, I mean, I'm still doing this on the side. Like,
Yeah, you did better than some people do full time. So, a lot of
yeah,
people do full time. Um,
yeah. And then the only other throwing thing was throwing 5,500 pieces. I think I'm more like 5,000 is probably where I'm going to end up. But I think with the
yeah.
show schedule, 55 is kind of a push. I think I'm probably going to set a goal of less throwing this year. So like more money on less pots, like fewer pots.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that
Side
was
note,
pretty much all the sale ones.
today we were talking with the girls about how I, I can't remember what Paige asked, but um it ended up with how many pots have you made in your whole life?
Hmm.
And we went through the math. It was a lot.
What was it? Was it over like 100K?
It was right around 100K. Yeah. That's give or
Wow.
take, obviously.
How did you
It could be 20
calculate
less.
that?
It could be, oh man, we did it. It was really quick and not accurate, you know?
Yeah,
I did it in kid terms.
kid
Like,
terms.
yeah. But anyway, continue.
That's pretty much all the sale ones, and then we had some wheel talk ones. But we'll. Did
Okay.
you have some sales goals or
I don't think I had
benchmarks
sales
or
goals.
anything?
I feel like I did have an original sales goal, which was to make $3,000 a month. Um, Ironically, I made exactly $3,000 a month if you uh if you like spread it out, you know, but I made no money in January and February and, and like barely any money in April. Um,
And is this just uh, is this any revenue or is this Five Lines Pottery revenue?
Five Lines Pottery
Okay, because you were still working for Rebecca.
up until about May, I think.
Yeah, but you're not including that kind of those dollar figures are not as part of these goals.
No, no, I'm not. So I sold gross sales. I sold 36,125. Total collected was 37,069. So 36, I'm very comfortable with that right now because that started in June. Like it really, like I made some money in March. I want to
Hmm.
say I made like 2,000 bucks in March, but for the majority of it, it was all from June to December, and I feel very good about that. So, um, how many
Nice.
months is that? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, seven, 7 months. So,
Oh, so your 3,000 a month is like once you, but it's only from 7 months of sales,
mm, well, I
or
made 36,000, but it if you spread it out over 12 months, it's 3,000 a month. But
but were you expecting to be 3,000 a month? You didn't know you were gonna stop working for Rebecca in January when you set
no,
that.
no, I wanted to make 3,000 a month, like outside of Gravesco.
Oh, right, because you were trying to save some and invest some and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but that obviously didn't happen. So here
Then it
we are.
became the sole income.
Yeah, here we are, and I feel good about it. And yeah, it's been a wild. year for sure.
Yeah, I was talking with Sarah from Not Work Related a
Mm-hmm.
week or two ago, and we were talking about sales and income and stuff. We were talking for like an hour and a half or something, and she was talking about like how many pieces she was making and then how many she sells and like left on her shelf, and how
Mm-hmm.
she's basically like cleaned out until she gets the next batch made. And she's like, how many do you have like left over? I'm like, I don't know, like 300, 400 pots finished. She's like, that's crazy. She's like, how many did you sell? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, how many did you make? I was like, 5,000,
I
4,500.
just
I'm
keep
like,
making.
yeah.
Yeah.
How many did you make? How many did you finish? How many did you sell? Like, I don't know. I know how many I made, but that doesn't tell me how many I finished and sold. Like, there's so many different points that I would have to piece together, like consignment shops and wholesale and
Yeah.
the online, like all those different places are not easy to just put together and say, this is the number that I sold.
Right. Keeping track of that is just a
And it's
lot.
not worth my time to keep track of that. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe there's some value in that, but for me, I'm just like, I'm just going to keep making. And as long as I got pots on the shelf and I can get rid of the stuff I don't want anymore,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It's a different business model.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I mean, last year I made $4,000, so it's not there's like no competition between last year and this year. But
Hmm.
um I feel really comfortable with where I am right now. And I don't want to make too much money because I don't want to pay too many taxes. And
Are
like,
you going to be able to maintain? That's what are you worried about maintaining? Are you going to be able to make what you were making when you were physically in a studio?
ooh, I think so. I don't know yet because I haven't like had any time to just I haven't had any time to figure out the setup, you know?
Hmm. And
So,
you didn't have did you have consultations in January of last year or 2022?
mm-mm.
Like that wasn't even a thought.
No.
Workshops weren't even a thought at that point.
Yeah.
You were focused on working for Rebecca and still making
Yeah.
production, pottery, and then were you just making fancy cups for the most part on the side?
Yeah. Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. So you're like, that's 30 fancy cups a month. Can I make 30 fancy cups a month and sell them?
Right. Yep, that was the plan. So, I'm very comfortable with this and we'll see what next year brings, but we could talk about that at the end.
Yes.
I'm
You're
not
making me
gonna stop
yawn now.
yawning though. Not gonna stop yawning. Okay, let's talk about what else are we gonna talk about?
We had the wheel talk ones on here. Do you want to hear the wheel talk goals that we had?
Yeah.
Okay, we wanted to interview 10 makers, which we interviewed exactly 10. Um, have some merch or swag or mugs or whatever. We did the mugs. We still have
Yeah.
mugs. If you're interested in a mug, let us know. We will have them at ClayCon West and we will have them in NCECA. I don't know the avenue that we will be selling them at NCECA exactly, but we will
It'll
have
be
them.
trunk sales. There'll be trunk
Trunk
sales.
sales, pop up, yeah, pop up sale, come find us sale. And then we also technically had the merch for the pot swap shirt, so that was good. I
Yeah.
guess that could be considered merch. Um, we had a goal of having 40 patrons.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
We're at 14. I think we kind of plateaued, but I
Yeah.
mean, the only pushing we do of the Patreon is just to at the end of every episode. We don't really talk about it, and
Yeah.
I actually sent out. I don't know if you saw this. You probably didn't, but I sent out a little summary on the Patreon at the end of the year. I think a week ago. That was basically like, "Hey, thank you so much for the support this year," and we were figuring out what's worth our time and not worth our time, and we've been posting the videos and decided like I'm going to keep posting the videos, but they're going to be on our YouTube, but I'm not going to like create posts in Patreon because nobody's looking at them. So basically I was like, hey, we're going to decide like this is not the Patreon as a whole, but like the posts and the ongoing content that that I was putting up there and like nobody was looking at. I'm sure there's other people that have Patreons that feel that of like, what do you offer? What do we want to offer that's like extra? What time and what content do we have extra that we can put there that other people that aren't patrons can get? And it's like, if you want to support us, but don't do it because you're expecting to get extra exclusive stuff.
Yeah, I made a Patreon this year, and I'm sure that I know that a ton of people have like dropped, which is completely reasonable. And I posted a thing saying like, I don't know how to continue. So, yeah.
But I mean, that's also part of your income stuff that you didn't even probably think of. Like that wasn't even in. Obviously, everything. So many things changed when you stopped working for Rebecca, so you had to figure out other ways and use your time differently. So,
yeah.
But that's a good consistent income too. So, if you can keep that up, then you can continue to get something to pad your monthly goals and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it'll pop. I just had to take like a month off. It'll pop back up.
Yeah.
And
yeah, some of it's like you don't always have to keep growing those numbers.
Yeah.
Some of it's as long as you're maintaining and keeping the people happy that are supporting you.
Well, I've lost probably $150 a month from it, but yes.
You've lost? You're talking about from when you started, or like when you started taking a break?
Yeah. I'm not probably in the last couple months I've lost $150 just from people deleting it or whatever.
Somebody was talking about they preferred the mechanism of giving once instead of a monthly thing. So like, hey, I've got this Patreon, but maybe it was Joe from Old Forge, I think. He was saying some people were talking about they don't like to give every month because you could, it's just something that you feel bad to cancel, and then it seems like a small amount of money, so it's like, you don't want to cancel it, but you feel like you want to as well, so it's kind of a harder point. So that some people would prefer to just have a donation randomly.
Right.
And say at the end of every year, if you're getting value out of this, here's how you can donate to us if you've appreciated the content you've gotten from us, and then you do it that way. And maybe you get an influx. Kind of like for the pot swap where we only ask for donations when we start it and say, hey, we just did this. If you're interested in donating to the fund, you can. Here's how you can donate. And you just leave it up to the people. If they want to donate, they can. If they don't, then they don't. And you don't feel like there's something like people have to sign up for. It's like, do I have $25 now to give them? And do I feel like I want to? So.
For sure. I do want to get up on the Patreon a little bit more though. And what I do like about it is that they're all YouTube videos, so eventually I can just make them public. And I was thinking it would be a good system for Patreon to like do all your videos in 2022, and then when 2023 starts, put every video from 2022 public on your YouTube, and then everything from 2023 all the way up is private until the end of 2023, and then it all goes public.
I say you do it like every 3 months or something. You just make them public. Like, hey, you're gonna get this for 3 months, and then it's gonna become public to everybody. I don't know, because how many people can you see? How many people have actually viewed those videos? Because I look on YouTube from our Wheel Talk ones, and there's less than 5 views on the ones that are unlisted, which are only to patrons. So usually it's like 1 or 2 views. So I'm like, I mean, why not make it public? I mean, the most viewed video that is public is even like 15 views. Like we're talking nothing here. There's not that many people watching it. So, it's like, why not make it public after a short, like you give them short amount of time, but it's also like a central
Ugh,
place for them to
sorry.
see it.
Mhm.
So they know to go to your Patreon to see all of them in one spot.
Yeah.
And then the other Wheel Talk stuff, we had goal of 1,700 listeners or downloads. I don't know. The thing with that goal is I don't know exactly how they measure that, and I don't know if it changes, but right now we're at like 1,100 downloads.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that was down from 2021 or if it's I don't know. I feel like that's significantly. I feel like it's gone down. I don't know if that's just naturally us or if it's how they measure it or something like that. But
Yeah.
something seems so I don't know if I would use that for next year of like barometer of how it's going kind of thing. So and then we had a Wheel Talk Instagram account, 3,500 followers. We're at like 2,900. That's not bad. I mean, not putting that much into it.
Nah. But we have two amazing people that help us out with our
Yes,
Instagram.
Lindy and Ashley.
Lindy and Ashley, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
And
Seriously though.
then we did go on a nice dinner together
We did.
for pot swap. We will do that again this year, or 2023 as well.
Mhm.
That has to happen.
Has to happen.
And then the last thing was
Yep.
just hosting pot swap 2022 for the 5th year.
The 5th year.
You're like 5 and done? What? No comment. No comment.
No comment. Let's just say 1,000 was a lot more than 700.
Yes. Yes, it was. So we will be making some changes to pot swap for 2023.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. I'm not going to let Becca just bow out and just say no more pot swap.
No.
It will continue with or without Becca.
Well, what's frustrating is that it's so infuriating, but then when I get my pot and then when I send my pot, it's like so much fun. So I know how much fun it is to participate in,
Do you,
you
do
know?
you watch any of the other videos of other people? So I watch some of them. I mean, we're kind of outside of the loop a little bit because we're not following on the Instagram day to day because we have
Yeah.
people that help with that. So it feels less. We don't get to see the positives as much because we only
Yeah.
get asked questions when something's wrong
Yeah.
or people have
Right.
something to ask that the people watching the Instagram can't answer.
Yeah.
So it just becomes like a burden in some points, but the positives of seeing people unbox and seeing what I got was also really cool too.
Yeah.
And you get that experience when you unbox your own and just seeing I'm also seeing people are like sending more things. It's not just one thing anymore.
Yeah.
They're
It's a
like
whole
outdoing
experience.
each other.
Yeah. It's a whole experience. Like I had somebody random this year. Typically every year me and Ryan choose each other's person. And I had somebody random this year and I was just like so tired. I think we were both so tired and I told Ryan, I was like, it's just random.
Hmm.
Just, you know. And it was such a delight, you know,
Hmm.
um, to like not know at all because in years prior I've had like an idea or, we give people that we enjoy and stuff like that. But like this time I got somebody who is new and God, I'm gonna tell you what, I would rather have a new, unpolished, gritty pot than a like a fancy ass cup that doesn't meet my expectations, you know?
Because you already know the person's work?
Yeah, like somebody that I already know, and I think their stuff is beautiful, but I haven't seen it in person, and then sometimes you get it and you're like, "Well, this is great." You know, thankfully all of my pot sweats have been amazing. But but it's so fun to receive something that's totally not perfect, like in any way, shape, or form. And like the person I got was just like fun and funky and like had random like underglaze transfers all over the place, and it
Mhm.
was and they, like, saw that I was moving it into a van, and so they made me a a double garlic grater
Mhm.
holder, and, like, it was just, like, you know, I just love a not perfect gift. It wasn't perfect, and it was fabulous. I loved it.
Right. And some
Yeah,
people have the expectations of this thing has an S crack. They didn't realize it and they shouldn't have sent it. I mean, obviously we say
yeah,
you shouldn't, but some people, I don't know, it's hard to tell because you can't judge 1,000 people's work. Like you don't know
yeah,
what went into the thought process of what they decided to send. Like, sure, there are some
yeah,
people that make great work and then they half-ass it and they send something that was not
yeah.
first quality that represents their work at all.
Yeah, but I think that when you have newbies, I think that that's been a lot of the not a lot of the, like, criticism of Potswap is, like, we should have ranks, like, new people get new people and good people get good people, and I'm like, "No," because, like, sometimes there's teachers, like, I'm a teacher, and if I get a new person's pot and I know that they just, like, put their whole heart into it, I'm like, "Fuck yeah. This is a great pot." Like, I don't care
Mhm.
what it looks like.
Yeah. Then you get
You
into the
know?
game of, okay, when do I elevate to that next level?
Yeah,
And then you're worried
and
about
it's
just what level am I versus like what do I want to send?
yeah, and it's more about the connection, right? Like, the person that I got, I was like, "Hey, if you ever want a consultation for free, let me know." Like, I would be happy to help you, you know?
Mhm.
It's just oh, and she had no idea that I was the originator of Potswap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it was so much fun. She had no idea that I was the person that ran it with you, obviously, but,
Mhm.
one of the people that ran it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
we'll
great.
send out a feedback survey. That's always good laughs though. When we send out the feedback
Ah,
survey
the best.
and we get to read it afterwards, oh man,
Yeah,
so
the best.
great. And then there's always people that'll mess, you know. I feel like the bad outweighs the good because we hear about the bad, but you know,
Yeah,
I think the people that follow the account and they watch the stories, they really do enjoy seeing other
I
people. They're
agree.
like, thanks for hosting this because I get this discover a lot of new people. I get to see the
Mhm.
excitement of people when they send things out as well as when they're unboxing them.
It's like a whole month-long experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
really
just
is.
it really is organic too. It's not
Yeah,
like we don't get to choose anybody that does it. Like they get to choose if they want to do it or not. And there's going to be
yeah,
some new people and there's going to be some well-known people and then there's going to be a lot of people in the middle that are just doing what they like to do and
yeah,
decide what they send.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
yes. All right.
Mhm.
Anything else from 2022 that you had set expectations for and how they resulted?
No, but I am glad. I will say this, 2022 was when I decided I wanted to get a van, and 2022 was when I got a van, and I think that's really cool.
When did you decide you wanted to do it? When did you say 2022 was going to be the year?
In 2022. Like, this year, I was like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finally fucking buy a van," and then I fucking did it. Like,
Hmm.
you know? So I was
Yeah.
pretty proud of myself for that. following through on that.
Yeah. Even in shorter time frame too. I mean, you were
Yeah.
thinking it was going to be June of next year,
Next year.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty dope, like pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
Okay.
you have expectations for some of the like consultation when you started doing those, or the certain pots that you were making or shows or anything like that when you started
I
doing them, that
do.
you set certain goals for yourself?
I feel like my shows went less good than I wanted them to go, and except for one in Bloomington, and
And the coffee show.
I
I feel like you were happy with the coffee show.
was super happy with the coffee show. And I felt like the consultations were good at the beginning and they've dropped off significantly at the end. That's because of me though, not because of anything else. It's just me. I need to get better at like advertising myself. Um, and then what was the other thing?
Shows, consultations, and
Oh, updates. Updates didn't go as well as I wanted them to go
yeah.
either. I felt like as far as this year has been a lot of, okay, that didn't go well. Oh well, we're gonna be fine. It's been a lot of that. So,
Mm-hmm.
or driving home saying, I could just do a remote job. That would be fine too. Like, yeah. So it's been a discouraging year as far as um, people liking my things.
But is the show? I feel like the show thing though. You still have to go through those growing pains of figuring out what shows are right.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
And maybe
I
you're like,
agree.
okay, I've already sold enough work that I know how to sell, but am I in the right spot to be selling
Yeah.
this?
But I will say, if it was my first year of like being at shows, I would be elated. But if it was my fourth year, like because I've been in this gig and I know that I have to like hold out for year three or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I'm in a new space, I'm okay. But if I was like a newer business owner, I would definitely be mentally struggling, you
But it
know?
was essentially your first year selling at shows in the Indianapolis area, right?
Right, but not my first year selling at shows total.
Right.
Like I know the ups and downs of shows, and if I had been like a new artist of sorts, I would be like so discouraged. I would be so discouraged, and I'm not. You know, it's more just like, meh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. And I know I have a good product, and I know it's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that doesn't mean that when you have a show that you pay $300 for and you don't make a ton of money, that doesn't mean that you're like you still can't be like, meh, that show sucked.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah, partially you can control stuff and partially you can't.
yeah,
You
exactly.
can't control everybody that comes to the door, but you can control what you take to the show and what you display and
Yeah,
what that you decide to sign up for the show as well.
yeah,
So, like, okay,
yeah.
so now you know not to sign up for that show again.
Right.
So you've kind of learned your
Exactly.
lesson about that show.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. What about you? Do you think your shows exceeded, met, or
I think I did a lot of the same shows that I've been doing. So
yeah,
I think it was pretty met expectations for the most part.
good.
I did find like three or so newer shows, not new shows, but like I tried some newer ones that either gave me confidence in, like Madison, that show in
Hmm.
Indiana. That was gangbusters for the first year, and I think it was like a $4,500 show or something. Like I sold amazing there. So I'm
Yeah,
like, this is the start of an amazing show that is going to continue on my calendar year after year, and it's just going to get bigger.
yeah,
And then, it was nice to come back to the coffee festival and do that one again, which I hadn't done for 2 years. And I think
yeah.
that one really worked out.
And that was just a lot of fun. That show was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I'm like, and it's nice to sell it's nice to sell like very focused things. Like, it didn't have to
Yeah.
bring such a gamut of work that it was like, like 4 different things, and that's mostly what sold.
Yeah. Oh, I will say this, going back to the shows, I was really happy with how the fancy cups have been received at shows.
Mm-hmm.
That has been really rewarding.
Because it's not yeah, that's your high end product at the show, and you're kind of
Yeah.
like surprised if it sells, or like
Yeah.
shocked if it sells. And then some shows
Yeah.
you sell 3 or 4 of them, and you're like, wow, that was amazing. And then
Yeah.
someone, you're like, oh, I'm happy I sold one at this farmer's market or something that I didn't expect to sell it at.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, going back to you.
Yeah, so I think it was just doing better at the shows that have become pretty consistent. Like the Berea show was good again this year. Woodland
Mhm.
show was good. And then, Madison, the new one, and some of these other ones that have been pretty consistent, like West Side Market, coming back to that. I only did 2 of those this year, and it was amazing for the winter. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always back and forth on that one because it's right after Thanksgiving. So I'm like, do I stay
Mhm.
home and miss it because spend the family time on Saturday? But it was nice. I mean, we kind of had an excuse because Rachel worked on Friday, so we had to get back on Friday.
Yeah.
So I was kind of thankful for that, because then I could do the show on Saturday and not feel guilty about
Yeah.
leaving the family to be at a show. But like, that was an amazing show. So
Mhm.
I think I'll do more of that, picking out those shows, maybe filtering out 3 or 4 that I don't need to try again.
Mhm.
There's a show that's been looming that I've been doing for probably 4 or 5 years, the Bellevue show, that I'm thinking like maybe it's time to like put that on the back burner, and I might try the Indianapolis show instead, the Penrod show maybe.
If you get in.
So I'm gonna apply to that, and I'll probably apply to the Bellevue one. If I get into Penrod, I'll choose Penrod over the Bellevue.
Yeah.
Um, Bellevue is like in the backyard, so it's but there's
Yeah.
also other shows that I'm doing at that time of year in this area. So,
Mhm.
I kind of want to try 1 or 2 newer shows that I haven't done and see how they go. So I'm always trying to find 1 or 2 different ones that I haven't done and see if there's potential there. And then if I find the potential, I'm just gonna kind of dedicate to some of those shows. And I think I'm just gonna not do some of these smaller ones. Like, I'm not even probably gonna do a farmer's market this year unless they just like ask me directly.
Yeah.
Because they sent me something, and they were asking for like commitments, and like, you want a guest event, and then you like say you want to do these months. But the farmers market's more like an afterthought for me. It's like, if it fits into my schedule, I will do it, but I'm not going to plan
Yeah.
to fit that into my schedule
Yeah.
before I have all these other things planned. So, that's one I'm just going to be like, okay, I can just, like, that's in my past now. I don't have to do that now that I've got a good framework of what
Yeah.
works and what's worth my time. Because, I mean, the better the show is, the more work I'm moving, the more inventory I need, especially if I have another big show 2 or 3 weeks later. So, we'll see. I'll try to trim down to maybe 15 shows. I think I was probably at about 20 or so, 18 to 20 this year. So, but yeah, I think they met expectations, and then some shows exceeded. Some shows were kind of, I'm getting better and better at like guessing how I'm going to do at a show. So I'm pretty good at knowing how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then the only variables are like, is the weather going to be bad? It's like, okay, then it's going to drop down a little bit, but for the most part, I'm still going to sell pretty consistently. I'm not having show flops anymore because I'm only doing shows that I've done before for the most part, or I know they're reputable enough that I'm not going to just have a complete flop. I'm not that risky with a show. So,
Yeah. You're not Becca.
but yeah, I mean, that's always been the focus. I think the shows. What else? Any other? I didn't really have any other major expectations for. I mean, there's been some different consignment wholesalers that have come along that have been good, and I feel like generally I haven't really delivered as much stuff to my consignment shops this year, which has been nice. So it'd be nice if I can get to only delivering maybe twice a year to most shops.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm only going to give you the things that sell well and not worry about stocking you up with all the different types of forms. Say, okay, what's doing well? What can I give you more of? And then I'm not worried about trying to do everything. So that's pretty much it for my 2022. Anything else from you for that?
Well, I did start fair, and I only got 2 orders, but I did not try at all.
Mm-hmm. How do you try on there? Is it telling people you have it, or is it like actively putting new things on there, or what?
I literally only had spoon rests on there.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna try and do earrings on it though.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
I mean, you've mentioned some different. You've mentioned like I want to do earrings on Etsy. I want to do earrings on Fair. I want to do, you've mentioned some of those different things.
That's definitely a January, February goal. Get it online so I can start selling stuff.
That just to see which one catches so that you're in marketplaces.
Yeah.
That you can just find out how. I mean, obviously they're probably going to both take time to get traction.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about 2023.
Okay. Where do you want to start? What are you looking at? Whether it's goals or if it's just high level things?
I think that my goals for 2023 are pretty simple, especially since I haven't really thought about them. And that would be I want to make $4,000 to $5,000 a month, and sales, make $4,000 to $5,000 a month sales, and continue to pay myself $800 a week, because that has been so wonderful for my stress level. Mm-hmm. And I would like to I'm switching over to mostly only fancy cups and earrings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to do some fun shows. Like I want to do shows in different locations since I can now. Travel around. And but I like, and a big goal is to get online actually moving.
Online, yeah. So the same inventory online as you would have at shows.
Yeah.
And just try to keep that moving while you're not physically at a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are my biggest goals. I don't really have like a financial goal per se.
Well, you did. I mean, you said pay yourself $800.
4 to 5. So like what, like 50, 60K sales this year.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those will be expensive, but
yeah. Yeah, I think just you're gonna like figuring out the adaptation to the van is just gonna be huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're definitely have to factor in some of the other ways that you're making money. I don't know how important the consulting is or the workshop stuff. Like, is that something goal worthy that is worth setting? Or is that...
Well, I'd like to get to a point where the consulting is more of a video that I send out, and then a response to that, because
They
it
send
seems
you a
that
video?
no, I send them a video and then we do a one-on-one for like maybe 30 minutes or whatever, because I find that I say the exact same thing during every single consultation. So, at the beginning at least, like how I'm explaining how to do things.
Huh. Is that because you
So,
think it's like not worth your time to do that same rigmarole every time?
no, I just think that it would be good for people to like go over it a couple times of me like, explaining it and then get to it
Oh,
and
so the video is just that part that you always repeat.
yeah,
Okay.
how to throw a cup essentially. Yeah.
Okay. Because normally I'm guessing people are not stopping you in between because
Not as much,
you've
no.
tailored it to a point where it's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward and there's not really room for questions.
Yeah. And I want to do a few videos that I can sell, like how to, you know, sell for $30 or $20 or whatever. So,
Yeah, it's tough because there's many options out there of how you can like what you're skilled in and what you would consider somebody would consider you like very good at and like an expert in. And like what
mhm.
would people be willing to pay you for? So it's like you could teach the consultations is one thing, or making the fancy cups because you're really good at like that process. So it's like, is it your product they're paying for? Is it your expertise? Is it, you know, what is it? Is it your
Yeah.
teaching style at a workshop? So there's all those different ways, but how do you thread it in a way that it's consistent, that you're telling people that you have those available all the time? Like obviously there's going to be a group of people that follow you for your
Mhm.
pieces that you make, or the earrings is a separate thing. Like they really
Mhm.
appreciate the fancy cups, or they really appreciate the earrings. So how do you make sure that people know that it's top of mind that you also offer these other things that you're skilled in?
Right.
Or how do you market yourself or do your Instagram so that people know that you have all these other things that you're willing to share that you can make money off of?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to do that. Because like I'm mostly making money off of making and selling work. Like
Mhm.
I'm not making a ton of money off of teaching or the business stuff. So I'm like, how much time do I spend doing this other thing that seems like a side distraction? Like the bookkeeping workshop thing. We talk about that so much, and that I put all this work into this, and it's like, is that really going to move the needle, or am I just doing this? Like, am I doing it to make a little bit of money for the potential of making more money when I get it to a good system of how to talk about it and share it? Or is it just a distraction from something that I'm like really good at, which is just making a bunch of pots?
Mhm.
But it's like, okay, well, it's easier on your body. It's more of a brain exercise to figure out the marketing of it and the talking to people versus the physical strain of making pots. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's kind of the difference in the consulting for you too, like talking to people about what you're doing versus just grinding away and just making a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. It's a lot.
so I think I'll still be doing the shows, roll down the consignment a little bit. We'll see what wholesale stuff comes up. I sent out all this stuff to the wholesalers, just thanking them at the end of the year. So we'll see. I'll probably get some interest from them for a few different projects, and then I think that's pretty much gonna be the focus. I'm not gonna put. I'm gonna narrow in the Etsy a little bit. I think I'm not gonna sell. I'm gonna retire the shot glasses from shows. I'm not I don't plan to sell any shot glasses at shows anymore or the air
Good.
plants. So my base item is most likely going to be just the spoon rest. I don't even think I want to make those little bowls. I was making those little ramekin bowls, like the pinch pots kind of thing. But I don't know. I get so many little S cracks in the bottom of those that I'm like, I don't really like making these enough to, because then I end up with a bunch of seconds, and how do I get rid of them? And then they're not consistent sizes, and so maybe they'll only be. I never sold those online. I just sold them to people at shows, and then one of my wholesalers knows about them, and they buy them. So I think I'm just gonna basically stop making those little guys and only do the shot glasses online. But I mean, I'll still get some wholesale orders for those, which is fine. But I'm not making 2,000 of them every year. I'll be more like 1,000 of them. Because I mean, I didn't really make that much money on them to take away from other stuff. Like I can make that money elsewhere, making other forms that are more. I don't know. I think the Tim C talk was probably a little bit of that reasoning.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll see. I don't know. And then the spoon rest. We'll see how the pricing goes on setting prices for things. But I basically didn't have any time to make bigger things, or I didn't prioritize the time to make bigger things. So I would like to make a few more bigger things.
Yeah.
Like pitchers and serving bowls and things like that. Like I don't really sell a lot of serving bowls, but making a few different things that are a little bit more substantial. I don't want to like do exhibitions or gallery shows or anything like that with those kind of pieces, but I'd like to try it out and see if there's any attention for that.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't have any hard numbers. I'll probably, how was it? What, 73? I was at 78.
I'm 78.
78 last year, 83 this year.
83, that's right. 83.
So I'll probably shoot for like 90 maybe.
Yeah, that's a good number.
I mean, the sales are still going to go up. Well, the sales might go up, but the prices are going to go up on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes, and then I'm going to throw fewer pieces, so I won't tell you what the number's going to be for pieces. I don't know if it's going to be 3,000 or what, but probably like 3,500 or something like that, and make it more manageable. And then we'll see. I mean, I'll continue the online and see how that goes, but I'm not going to kill myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see though. I don't know. We got some podcast things coming too, so we're doing, the NCECA stuff coming up. That one will be fun. I'll be doing some stuff with Speedball there, and then we're doing a podcast kind of panel, I guess, is what it is, but it's like I guess not really a panel. It's like a live episode that we'll be doing at NCECA in Cincinnati.
Yep.
That Ben Carter is organizing from Tales of the Red Clay Rambler. And there's a bunch of different podcasters doing it, and they've got different time slots for the different podcasts hosts to talk. So we're going to be sharing with another group for like an hour. So it'll be a chat about a topic, share our ideas with the other hosts, and then we will have questions and things like that. And we'll be there physically. So I'm interested to see how that goes. It's going to be so much going on that week. So it's going to be pretty nice.
And we have another very exciting announcement, but we can't tell you yet.
Yeah, we'll share that soon.
It's exciting for us. It might not be exciting for you, but it's exciting for us.
Definitely exciting for us. It'll be fine. Yeah. It'll be fine for them. It's a new thing. Yes.
Yeah.
So
we're moving up in the world.
Yep. Just took a few years.
Yeah. Took 3 years. It's fine.
I don't know. Are there like whenever you get to the end of the year and you're starting a new year, like, are there things that you reflect on? You're like, what was not worth my time to focus on? And you're like, I'm not going to focus on that thing. Or there's something that I'm going to like let go.
No, because I do that continuously. I personally, the only reason, like, I'm definitely 100% not one of those New Year's resolutions type people, and I only look at I I'm more concerned about month to month usually instead of yearly.
Mhm.
Um, so
Well, plus I mean, you can't plan a year out if you don't even know what's
no,
gonna happen. Like, you completely change gears 6 months into the year. So,
right.
like, setting those
I just
arbitrary
stopped.
yearly goals is not
Yeah, I just
realistic.
stopped. Yeah. So
But
I
well, I
would
think
say
some
that
people
no.
do the New Year's resolution because that's like the only time they have to rest and actually reflect.
Maybe.
Because
Yeah.
like I'm not thinking I didn't even I got to the goal sheet that I did for 2022 and I'm like, did I even set goals for 2022? I thought I like put them on the back burner and never actually set it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know.
I would say that people with children aren't resting and reflecting around this time of year. But
They gotta wait till they go back to school and then they're like, okay,
yeah.
now let's think about the year ahead.
Yeah. Because it's just like an exciting time of year, but also, I mean, I don't think this time of year is reflective and restful. I hate Christmas time. It's just such a fucking bleh. Anyway, not to be a Debbie Downer. Um,
I like not having a set like I have to get this done. It's more like I
yeah,
get to dictate what I need to get done, and I actually have other
yeah,
time to focus on other stuff if I want to.
yeah, that is nice. Yeah, yeah. I don't have anything else. What do you got? I'm exhausted.
I know you were out of it.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I don't have anything else. I'm looking. For the podcast. I'm looking forward to talking to some more people because I've got. I feel like we always have people in our. Well, I always have people in the back of my mind of like I want to talk to this person or that person or that person,
yeah,
and I feel like we get into ebbs and flows of like, okay, let's talk. Let's actually reach out to these three people and get them to schedule a time.
right.
So we've got a couple people scheduled, and I want to do a little more of that and
Yeah,
see how that goes. I feel like usually it becomes an afterthought. So I thought we would have easily hit 10 for this year, but we hit right at 10.
yeah. I think that NCECA will be good for us to kind of network to people and be like, "Hey, would you like to be on the podcast?" And like jot their name and email down so that we can send them,
Hmm.
afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of it's not because there's a shortage of people to talk to. It's because
No.
we have to have the interest and the forethought of what we're going to talk about that's going to be valuable for you all. At least when
Yeah.
I approach an interview, I'm looking at it that way. I'm not looking at it
Yeah.
as, hey, this is a big name. We need to talk about them, and we could figure out what to talk about.
We would
Like,
rather talk to somebody small with something really pointed than somebody big with something not.
yeah, rather than like, how did you get so popular, or how do you sell so much stuff? Like,
Yeah.
that's not as relatable to somebody that is trying to make it work in their own business as probably a lot of listeners that are
Yeah.
listening to this. So, um, yeah, and I'm sure there's also some people that I've been intimidated to ask to be on it because I'm like, they are a bigger name, so it's like, what would we talk about that would be worth their time? I'm worried about their time more than, um, because I don't want to take time away from what they're doing.
Whatever. We're fucking cooler than they are.
So,
They want to
um,
hang out with us, Ryan.
but also you know, you like to have a rapport with somebody
Yeah.
so that you feel like it's worth the conversation. It's not like an awkward back and forth. Not that it would be awkward, but also you and I can talk for 2 hours, like probably no problem, but actually having a flowing conversation with somebody that we might not know as much for 2 hours is a little tougher
Yeah.
because you don't know if they're going to, you know, continue on with giving something valuable or digging in a little bit more that people could get some
Yeah.
value out of than just surface level answers.
Yeah. Joe, since I know you're listening, and probably disappointed with our lack of statistical data on this particular episode. We're coming for you this year. Be prepared.
Joe who?
Joe Old Forge. Joe.
Old Forge Creations.
We're coming for you. You're going to have to show us your face.
He's going to be like, do not put that on YouTube. Or maybe it is on YouTube. Maybe he's got a mask on. He's got like a funny mask on. And then he's got his microphone behind it. So we're just talking to a mask the whole time.
Yeah.
He's wearing like a scream mask the whole interview.
Oh my God, stop. No, we want to see your fucking face. Anyway, yeah. It's going to be great.
Yes. All right. Adios. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for bearing with us. Becca is about to keel over. This is not a short one, Becca. We said short one, but I probably
it was
went
like
on for
an hour 26. You know what? When I one really quick thing, I was like tired at dinner yesterday or something, and Teresa goes to Paige, Paige was like, "Well, why are you tired?" And I was like, "Because I didn't sign up for children." And Teresa was like, "Mommy and Daddy chose to have you and to take care of you and to struggle with you."
Is this the oldest kid, I'm guessing?
Yeah. And I was like, and I did not.
You're like, that's the cost of being here.
Yeah.
And you also didn't sign up for the other adults too.
Oh yeah, it's just been a lot. I feel like this is the longest time I've had to myself since last Wednesday when we had our podcast.
Oh wow. Yeah, you can't be like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed now.
I mean, I could, but I mean, I want to hang out with them, and I want to hang out with the kids. Yeah.
Right.
It's just.
But it's fine to say I don't want to hang out with you all day long.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, have a wonderful week.
Yes.
And straighten up and wait, what is it? Straighten up and fly right? Straighten up and
I don't know.
fly right. Anyway.
The New Year's already started, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. Pull down your pants and slide on the ice.
Yep. I don't remember what other episode you said that, but that was an outro of another episode. And we'll end it there. Thanks everybody for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Did you stop it?